Hello, I'm Elaine from Turnip House, and today I'm going to show you how you can plant some seeds and put them on your windowsill and grow some really nice herbs and edible plants. So you can sow seeds in any sort of pot, anything from something like this, which has a plastic lid on it and acts as a little propagator, to commercially bought compressed paper, which are compostable. So as soon as you see roots growing through the bottom of these, you can put them into bigger pots. You can use yogurt pots, put holes in the bottom of them. You can even use something like this, as long as there's holes. You put holes in the bottom. I tend to put things into trays so that they don't leak if you've got them on the windowsill. That way it keeps it nice and clean. But one of the easiest things to do is to make pots out of toilet roll inner. They turn out this sort of size, and something like this, which is a mushroom mushroom container, will take 6 of these. So I put these in here. I'll show you how to do it. So you take your toilet roll holder and you squash it gently at one end, and then about a centimetre and a half up, all the way on both sides. You cut up, and then you squash it the other way, squashing these into the middle, and you cut on the other side, on the other ends, like this. Okay, and then what you do is you bend them down. So you bend them in so they're fairly straight all the way around. Pull them out again, and bend them at the same height all the way around. It helps if you've cut the same size hole. Okay, and then when you've got them like that, what you do is you tuck this one in here, and this one in, and this one tucks in, so that they're all folded one piece into the other. Okay, and that stops them from falling out, stops the soil from falling out the bottom. There's a couple here that I cut earlier, so we'll just pop them in. So you get quite quick at it the more you do. And again, these can be planted straight into bigger pots without having to disturb. So if you've only got maybe 2 or 3 seeds, or not very many seeds in each of the pots, then you can just pop it straight into another pot. Okay, so that's, and I'll do that one later. And then what I also do for something like this, this is a takeaway plastic, which I don't throw anything away really, and it's used as a top for a little propagator for the seeds. Keeps the soil moist without getting too, and it keeps the heat in as well. Having made your little seed holders, compostable pots, the next thing to do is to fill them with compost. So this is just ordinary multi-purpose compost. I'll end up using my fingers. So you just fill it, tuck it in a bit, not too firm. You don't want it. You want the seeds to be able to make their way down with their lovely new roots. So I'm going to fill each one to maybe that's probably about a centimetre from the top. So I'll do all of these. Then you have a chance for it to have a nice growing selection of chives. So the chives, I have a pack here. I also have a different pack. So whichever you fancy. Shake your seeds so that they're all away from where you're going to tear. You do sometimes get stuck at the top. So, and I tear a corner off just very gently. Okay. The chives you can do now, very early, along with onions, and I'll do some maybe do some peppers as well. Peppers from, right, so there we are, there's your chive seeds. Not coming out. Right, so there's a few chive seeds. Now, I'm just going to... So what you do is you then take a few and just sprinkle them on. Little pinch, sprinkle them on. Little pinch, sprinkle them on. Now with chives, because you're going to cut them back every time they grow to a nice length to use in whatever you want, it doesn't really matter if you've got more than a few in. Some of the other ones you need just a few, otherwise they need to be transplanted out, and then you end up with lots and lots of seedlings and nowhere to put them. So it's better to err on the side of not having very many seeds in. Everybody can be you can sometimes be a bit over ambitious. Okay, so there's my chives. I have a little label here. I'll just stick in the middle one. There we are. Now I will water that. I haven't got any water with me, but I'm just going to put the lid on that just to... Okay, so my chives side needs to go a little bit lower. There we are. So that's the chives done. The next thing I want to show you is these little pots here. Now these are from last year, from Marks and Spencer's. Now Lidl also do this sort of thing. I don't know if they're doing it this year, but they've done it in the past. So just in case you come across this sort of thing, they're very useful. They have all the instructions on how to plant it. So it comes with these little round pellets. These are coconut coir compost, and what you do, they go from this, and I'm going to add a little bit of water and watch the magic. It's quite interesting how the coir soaks up the water and expands quite rapidly. So I tend to add a little bit of water at a time, just so that it's not too wet. And as it soaks up the water, it grows, swells, and will give you enough compost to fill your little pot, which again is one of these little paper cardboardy compostable pots, so it's very useful. Get a bit more water and watch what happens. Surprising how much water it actually takes up. It's beginning to break up now. Into here. Still a bit runny, but it'll be alright. So I'll probably put it in. I'll show you before I put it in. So we just tip it in. Get the water out, maybe not. Tip the water out first. So we've got a fair bit of liquid in there still, but it's now gone quite solid, and you can just tip it in. And again, push it down gently. Scrape all of it in, a little bit to cover. Okay, now they very kindly, wherever the seeds have disappeared to, there's some seeds somewhere around. There we are. Very kindly tell you what it is. So this is pepper. It's a sweet pepper, and they've given us quite a lot of seeds. But you just pop it in the square. And you see that it's already beginning to lose and add, the moisture's coming through. So we'll just finish off with this last little bit of compost here. And the other thing they give you with a nice little label to tell you what it is, so we can stick that in there. Now, because that's obviously going to leak, I'm going to put it in here, and I'll do the other one later. Now, these little pots here have all been labelled, and I will do exactly the same with these pots as I have done with the chives. And I have the seed, and I have already written a little label to go in the pot as well. So you can do it just doubly, just make sure you've got everything labelled, because it's very easy to forget what you've got when you do more than 2 or 3 things. Having shown you how to do this little compostable pots from the toilet roll and middles, I'm now going to show you how to make some little markers that you can use in your pots, like these. Again, recycling. So this is this is a finished milk carton. So I'm going to cut it right the way down to the bottom. And what I do is cut the bottom. So cut around the bottom like this. I'm also going to cut off the top here, just so that the handle comes off too. Okay, like this. Now you could probably get a few more out of this. I've just rinsed this out, so that's why it's wet. So I'll just give that a bit of a... Just dry it. And just some nice straight cuts right the way down. I also cut a little angle at one end. This means that when you're trying to get it into your pot, you're not struggling because it's flat. The point goes in a lot easier. There we are. There's some more little ones to use. So I now have all my little pots labelled. I have written on the front of these as well. Not really convinced that they shouldn't run or disappear, but just to check, make sure, I decided I would put little labels in all of them. So you can see now that I have, this one here has 6 different herbs in. This one here also has 6, but I've got 2 of the basil. And this one has mainly chives and a couple of basil. And these have their little lids that go on just to keep them nice and moist so they don't dry out. And they will go in the sun on the windowsill just to warm them up and help with their germination. The next thing I'm going to show you what to do is how to take seeds from fruit, or from vegetables. So these are hot chilies, and obviously they have seeds inside them. So we'll take this nice red one here. And you're going to just open them up. Now this may be a little, so I should possibly a sharp knife, which I don't have. So, now I'm trying not to touch this because obviously this is a chili pepper and I don't really want to get the chili juice on me, but there you are, there's lots of lovely seeds in there. Now what we do, I have a little pot here ready for a container, so move this out of the way, and I'm going to put these into here. Now, don't really think I need all those plants, but you never know, I might have a few friends that would like some nice hot chilli plants, so I'm going to put them all in. It saves wasting them. Again, trying not to touch the chilli, and as soon as I finish I'm going to go and wash my hands. You can do this with tomatoes, you can do it with sweet chilies, sweet peppers, exactly the same thing. And because this is a nice little round pot, we can spread them around a bit. Now, I'm probably going to have, if they all grow, there's quite a lot there, but I'm hopefully just want a few to come up. There, I've broken open this is a yellow pepper that is a little bit softer than I would have liked, but so I'm not going to use it to eat. But anyway, you can see the seeds in there are exactly the same, and you can do exactly the same thing. You maybe only need to take 2 or 3 and do the same thing with that, and you've got your nice little pot of chilies. Now, chili plants grow quite big because it's been indoors, and I brought it into the house earlier on in the year. I don't know if you can see, it's actually got some, see if you can get the flower. So there's a flower there. Oop. And that will turn into a pepper. Now these are chili peppers, these are hot green chili peppers, and I have 3 plants like this. Nice little sign for it. Pop it in with this mat. That's not going to go. I'm going to have to cut it a bit shorter and pop it in. And a little bit of water on the top of there to get them going. And again, I have these that have a little propagator on the top of them. With if it gets too hot, you open the holes at the top to let too much heat out. And again, that will go on the windowsill until they start to germinate, and I will transplant them into bigger pots, and then they will end up in my greenhouse. The last thing I want to show you what to do is to plant some edible flowers. So you have a lovely display of flowers in your garden, and you can eat them. Now these are nasturtium, which grow really well. They like poor soil, so if you've got a bit of sandy, dry soil that doesn't grow anything else, then these seeds will grow lovely there. Now I'm starting them off in compost, but they will be transplanted into pots with a much larger amount of sand in the compost, and then finally when they're put out into their planting in the garden, they'll be in a very poor soil situation, and hopefully they will grow beautifully for me. Now these ones here are a dwarf bushy mix, and it's a very simple. I filled this little pot to the top, and what you do, and I'm going to use my pen, is you make a little hole about a centimetre down. Just so I'm going to do a little ring of these around here, and do a few more in the middle. And these nasturtium seeds are quite big, so they're easy to handle. Again, I always try and tip them into my hand. Oh, I think I might have dropped one already. So, there they are, in my. So they're quite big. And you just pop one into each of the holes. And tend to make sure that I've got one in each hole before I cover them up, because if you start covering them up before you've gone round them, you might find you put more than one. Not that that would really matter, but put one in the middle. So that's my nasturtiums in. Pop these back in the packet. If you have a piece of bare ground or soil that you could cover with these, you just scratch the soil a bit and throw the seeds down and then just lightly cover them. I'm going to just cover these over. See there you can see them, they're in their little holes, so I'll just cover them over. And again, these will go into my greenhouse where they'll stay nice and warm until they have germinated and we have transplanted them on. A nice little label again from my recycled milk carton. And also this is a recycled packaging from poppadoms. Fits these big pots really well. Means you're not going to get water running straight through, because obviously they have holes in the bottom, and it means that you can check that you're not over watering, because you can see how much the water comes out the bottom, and if there's too much in the bottom then you can just take it over to the sink and empty it out. So there we are. There's the nasturtiums, the dwarf mix. These ones climb up trellises, or they will be great ground cover, so I will do those in the second pot. There we are, nasturtiums, edible flowers. You can eat the plant, you can eat the seed, you can eat the leaf, and you can eat the flower. Here are some photographs of the seedlings after 7 days up until 2 weeks after they were planted. It shows the seed leaves growing quite nicely, and it will show you what they look like. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you've learned something about planting seeds, and I hope your seeds grow and you enjoy eating them. Bye bye.